Why is it legalism to keep one commandment, but not the other 9? The world applauds when a Christian says, "Thou shalt not kill." The church nods in approval when you preach, "Do not steal." Even Hollywood smiles when you say, "Honor your father and mother." But dare to say, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy," and suddenly, you're a legalist. Why? Why is it obedience to keep 9 commandments, but legalism to keep the 4th? Why is it acceptable to honor God's law until you get to the one that starts with remember? This isn't a game of semantics. This is a war over authority. Because the 4th commandment, unlike the others, demands your time. It's not just about morals, it's about worship. It tells the world who your Creator is, and that's why it's the one most fiercely attacked. Exodus 20:8-10. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. Not any day, not the day of your choice, the 7th day. The same day God rested, blessed, and sanctified in Genesis chapter 2:2-3. So ask yourself, why are people praised for keeping the 6th commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," but ridiculed for keeping the 4th? The answer is simple, because the Sabbath exposes who you truly worship. You can't fake Sabbath obedience. You can't hide behind grace while deliberately ignoring the one command that requires you to stop everything and acknowledge God as Creator. So modern religion needed a word to shame Sabbath keepers. They picked legalism, as if obeying God is a sin. But what is legalism really? Legalism is trying to earn salvation through works, not obedience rooted in love. Legalism is keeping the law to be saved, but obedience is the result of being saved. If keeping God's law is legalism, then Jesus was the greatest legalist of all, because he said in John 15:10, "I have kept my Father's commandments." And he commanded in Matthew 5:19, "Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven." Let that sink in. Jesus kept the Sabbath. He said the law would not pass away until heaven and earth pass, Matthew 5:18. And Revelation 14:12 declares, "Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus." Not one commandment, not 9, all 10. So let's ask the uncomfortable question. Why is the Sabbath the only commandment that offends the religious world? Because Satan doesn't fear people who keep 9. He fears those who obey all 10, because the Sabbath is God's sign, his seal, his mark of authority. Ezekiel 20:20 says, "Hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God." The devil doesn't want you to know who your real God is. That's why the 4th commandment had to go. Not because it's legalism, but because it's truth. And truth demands loyalty. So now millions of Christians claim to love God while rejecting the very commandment that proves they do. John 14:15. "If ye love me, keep my commandments." Not keep 9, not substitute one. Keep them all. Stop calling obedience legalism when it's love in action. Stop justifying disobedience with grace. And stop accusing the faithful remnant of being legalists when they are simply doing what you refuse to do, remembering the day God never forgot. So the next time someone says, "It's legalism to keep the Sabbath," ask them, is it legalism to reject adultery, to tell the truth, to worship no other gods? If it's not legalism to keep 9, then it's not legalism to keep 10. Obedience is not bondage. It's the evidence of true freedom in Christ. And those who truly follow him, they don't pick and choose. They remember, they obey, they love.